Have you ever tried speaking English out loud and felt your confidence soar? If not, you might be missing out on one of the most effective and underrated techniques for mastering a language. Reading out loud is like giving your language skills a daily workout. It's not just about saying words. It's about training your brain, tongue, and ears to work together. It might feel a bit awkward at first, but trust me, the results are worth it. When I first started learning English, I struggled with speaking. My pronunciation was off, and I often hesitated in conversations, fearing I'd make mistakes. Then, someone suggested I try reading out loud every day. I was skeptical at first. How could something so simple make a difference? But once I started, I quickly realized how powerful this method could be. Reading out loud has 3 incredible benefits that transformed my English skills. First, it helps improve pronunciation. When you read out loud, you hear yourself and can catch mistakes in how you say words. Second, it builds confidence. Speaking English out loud, even to yourself, gets you comfortable with the sound of your voice in English. Finally, it enhances fluency, teaching you how sentences flow naturally and how to express yourself clearly. Through consistent practice, I discovered that reading out loud is not just an exercise. It's a confidence booster, a tool for self-expression, and a gateway to mastering English. Whether you're a beginner or just looking to refine your skills, this technique can help you take your English to the next level. So, grab a book, start reading out loud, and let's see where this journey takes you. My struggles with English. Before reading out loud, learning English was never easy for me. At first, it felt like an uphill battle where every step forward came with twice as much frustration. One of the biggest challenges I faced was pronouncing words correctly. English has so many words that don't sound the way they're spelled, and I often found myself stumbling over them. Words like choir, kernel, or even schedule would leave me confused and unsure of how to say them. My mispronunciations often led to embarrassing moments, making me hesitant to speak in front of others. Confidence was another major struggle. Every time I tried to speak English, I felt like all eyes were on me, ready to catch my mistakes. Even in small conversations, I would second-guess myself, worrying about whether my sentences made sense or if I sounded strange. This fear of judgment held me back from practicing, which only made my progress slower. Another issue I faced was understanding sentence structures and pacing. English sentences didn't always flow the way I expected. I would often pause awkwardly in the middle of a sentence because I wasn't sure how to continue. Or I would rush through words, making it hard for anyone to understand me. It felt like I was fighting a losing battle, and every mistake chipped away at my self-confidence. These challenges left me feeling frustrated and full of self-doubt. I began to question whether I could ever become fluent in English. But instead of giving up, I searched for a solution, and that's when I discovered the simple yet powerful practice of reading out loud, a technique that changed everything for me. Discovering the power of reading out loud. I first stumbled upon the idea of reading out loud quite by accident. I was watching an online video about improving English skills, and one of the tips the speaker emphasized was the importance of speaking the language regularly. They suggested reading out loud as a way to practice both speaking and reading at the same time. At first, it sounded too simple to be effective, but the more I thought about it, the more curious I became. I decided to give it a try because I was desperate to improve. My confidence in speaking English was at an all-time low, and I knew I needed to change something in my approach. I also realized that I rarely practiced speaking English out loud. I would mostly read silently or listen to others. This meant I wasn't training my mouth and brain to work together in forming English words and sentences. What really motivated me to try this method was the promise of better pronunciation and fluency. I wanted to speak English without hesitating or worrying about how I sounded. So, I picked up a book one day, started reading out loud, and discovered how transformative this simple habit could be. It was the beginning of a new journey for me. The process of reading out loud. When I started reading out loud to improve my English, I realized that the process itself was as important as the habit. Here's how I approached it, step by step, to make it both effective and enjoyable. Choosing the right material. The first step was finding the right content to read. I started with simple materials like children's books, short stories, and beginner-level English articles. These were easy to understand and didn't overwhelm me with complex vocabulary or sentence structures. As I gained confidence, I gradually moved on to more challenging materials such as novels, news articles, and even scripts for plays or dialogues. Choosing content that interested me, like stories or articles on topics I loved, made the process more engaging and kept me motivated. Daily practice. Consistency was key, so I set aside 15 to 30 minutes every day to read out loud. I created a quiet space where I could focus without feeling self-conscious. During my reading sessions, I paid close attention to pronunciation, making sure I articulated each word clearly. I also worked on my tone and intonation, trying to sound natural and expressive. Recording and listening. One of the most effective strategies I used was recording my voice while reading out loud. At first, it was uncomfortable to listen to myself, but it was an eye-opener. I could hear my mistakes, mispronunciations, awkward pauses, or rushed sentences, and work on correcting them. Over time, these recordings became a benchmark to track my progress. I could hear the improvement in my fluency and clarity, which motivated me to keep going. Using tools for help. To enhance my practice, I used tools like online dictionaries to check the pronunciation of unfamiliar words. Hearing how native speakers pronounce them gave me confidence in replicating their sounds. Additionally, I tried language apps that provided feedback on pronunciation and fluency. These tools acted as virtual tutors, guiding me to improve step by step. By following this process, reading out loud became more than just a practice. It became an interactive and effective way to train my speaking skills. This structured approach made it easier for me to notice improvements and feel more confident in my ability to communicate in English. Improvements I noticed over time. When I started reading out loud, I had no idea how much it would transform my English skills. Over time, I began to notice significant improvements in several key areas, each of which motivated me to continue. Pronunciation and clarity. One of the first changes I noticed was in my pronunciation. As I read aloud, I became more aware of how words were supposed to sound. I took the time to repeat tricky words until I got them right, often using online dictionaries or listening to native speakers for reference. Gradually, words that once felt difficult or awkward to pronounce became second nature. This improvement in pronunciation made me feel more confident when speaking, as I no longer worried about saying words incorrectly. Fluency and pacing. Another area where I saw progress was in fluency and pacing. At the beginning, I often paused mid-sentence, unsure of how to continue, or I would rush through words, making my speech hard to understand. Reading out loud taught me the natural rhythm of English sentences. I learned to pause where necessary and emphasize key words, making my speech flow more smoothly. Confidence in speaking. Perhaps the most rewarding improvement was in my confidence. Speaking English used to feel intimidating, but practicing every day gave me a sense of familiarity with the language. Over time, I became more comfortable holding conversations, knowing I could express myself clearly. Comprehension and vocabulary growth. Reading out loud also helped me understand how sentences were structured and how ideas were expressed in English. As I read, I encountered new words and phrases, which naturally expanded my vocabulary. This made it easier to comprehend spoken English and express myself in a wider variety of situations. These improvements showed me how powerful reading out loud can be in mastering English, challenges I faced, and how I overcame them. Like any new habit, reading out loud came with its challenges. However, these obstacles became stepping stones on my journey to improving my English, as I learned how to overcome them one step at a time. One of the first challenges I encountered was struggling with difficult words. Many English words have irregular spellings and pronunciations, which left me feeling frustrated. To address this, I turned to pronunciation guides in online dictionaries and language apps. Listening to native speakers pronounce the words helped me understand how to say them correctly. I also repeated these words out loud several times until they felt natural, which boosted my confidence. Another hurdle was feeling awkward or shy. At first, I was too self-conscious to speak English out loud, even when I was alone. I worried about how I sounded and whether I was doing it right. To overcome this, I practiced in private spaces where I felt safe and free from judgment. As I gained confidence, I started speaking more boldly and even shared my progress with close friends. Finally, staying consistent was a challenge. Life gets busy, and it was easy to skip a day or two of practice. To maintain discipline, I set daily reminders and built a routine, dedicating a specific time each day for reading out loud. These small but consistent efforts help me overcome the initial hurdles and stay on track with my goal. Tips for others who want to learn English by reading out loud. If you're considering learning English by reading out loud, here are some tips based on my experience to make the process smoother and more effective. Start with texts that match your current level. Begin with materials that align with your current English skills. For beginners, children's books, short stories, or simple dialogues work well because they use basic vocabulary and straightforward sentence structures. As your skills improve, gradually challenge yourself with more complex texts, such as novels, articles, or even poetry. Choosing topics that interest you will also keep you motivated and make the practice enjoyable. Be patient and consistent with practice. Improving your English skills takes time, so patience is crucial. Dedicate at least 15 to 30 minutes daily to reading out loud and make it a part of your routine. Consistency is key. Small, regular efforts will lead to noticeable improvements over time. Celebrate small milestones to keep yourself motivated, like mastering a difficult word or completing a challenging text. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes are a natural part of the learning process, so don't let them discourage you. Every mispronunciation or awkward sentence is an opportunity to learn and grow. Focus on identifying areas for improvement and work on them step by step. My goal is progress, not perfection. Pair reading out loud with other methods. Enhance your learning by combining reading out loud with other techniques. For example, listen to native speakers through podcasts, audiobooks, or videos to understand how they pronounce words and structure sentences. Try mimicking their intonation and rhythm during your reading sessions. By following these tips, you can turn reading out loud into a powerful tool for mastering English and building confidence in your speaking skills. Thank you for joining me on this journey of learning English by reading out loud. I hope my experiences and tips have inspired you to try this effective method for yourself. Remember, learning a language is a journey, and every small step brings you closer to fluency and confidence. If you found this video helpful, I'd love your support. Don't forget to like this video. It really motivates me to create more content like this. Your feedback means the world to me, and it helps this channel grow. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on valuable tips, techniques, and stories designed to help you improve your English skills. Hit the notification bell so you'll be the first to know when I upload new videos. Also, feel free to share this video with friends or family who are also working on their English skills. By sharing, you're helping others discover easy and effective ways to improve their language abilities. Together, let's create a community of learners who support and inspire each other. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Keep practicing and stay confident. You've got this.